Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Harpie Lady Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for post the 2024 Megatins. We got an awesome alternate art for the Harpie's Feather Duster in the latest Yu-Gi-Oh Megatins, which after seeing the art and looking back at all my Harpie cards, I figured I'd update the deck just with some changes I've made. I honestly can't remember if I've updated the deck since the Barrier Statue of Win was banned or not, but we've also made some other changes to the deck with the September 2024 ban list for some of the ratios for some of the other cards that were run in the deck. So I figured with those changes made, and once again, just that awesome artwork inspired me to look at Harpie Ladies again, an update was due. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. For the Harpie monsters, we're running 3 copies of Harpie Lady 1. It's always treated as Harpie Lady, so you can only run up to 3 copies of Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady 1, 2, or 3, or Cyber/Harpie Lady. So I decided to go with Harpie Lady 1 just because it gives all your win monsters a 300 attack point boost. So if you have your 3 Harpie Lady 1s on the field, that's a 900 boost total. So a pretty good power boost, especially to some of your other Harpie monsters that you have on the field. We're also running 3 copies of Harpie Chandler. You can discard 1 Harpie card to special summon 1 Harpie monster from your deck in defense, except for Harpie Chandler. You can only use the effect of Harpie Chandler once per turn. While you control a dragon monster, this card's level becomes 7, and this card's name becomes Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. So the Harpie Lady name on the field or graveyard will definitely come in handy for a good number of other cards that we run in the deck, but Chandler setting up your other Harpie monsters is a big part of what this card can do. So easy access for a good variety of cards, and then also setting up other Harpie cards in your graveyard for you to be able to summon them back with cards like Hysteric Party. For more of the 3 copies of Harpie Perfumer, this card name becomes Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. If this card's normal or special summon, you can add 1 spell or trap from your deck to your hand. That specifically lists the card Harpie Lady Sisters in its text. If you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster when you activate this effect, you can also add a second card as such. So there are some cards that can help with getting the higher level Harpie cards on the field easier, like our Harpie's Pet Dragon, Fearsome Fireblast, being a level 7 monster to make use of to summon onto the field, giving us that additional search that you can make up for with Harpie Perfumer, because there are a good number of one-of Harpie cards that we run in the deck that we can search off of this card. Having an additional search makes it all the better also. And also 3 copies of Harpie Harpist. There are a good number of 3-ofs in the deck, but they all just work very, very well together to open up the multiple numbers as well. Having this card become Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. And also when this card's normal summon, you can target a winged beast monster you control other than this card, and 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, return those targets to the hand. So a good bounce effect on top of the during the end phase of this card's in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn. You can add 1 level 4 winged beast type monster with 1500 less attack from your deck to your hand. So if you send off the Harpie Harpist with cards like Harpie Chandler, you'll have a search at the end of the turn thanks to this card as well, since it just has to be in the graveyard because it was sent to this turn. It doesn't have to be sent from the field or the deck. It can just be sent there off of Harpie Chandler, and then you'll have that search at the end phase. And then for the last of the 3-ofs, 3 copies of Harpie's Pet Dragon, Fearsome Fireblast. Monsters cannot target level 6 or lower Harpie monsters for attacks. You can only use each of the following effects of Harpie's Pet Dragon, Fearsome Fireblast once per turn. If you control a level 6 or lower wind monster, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense. And when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can send 1 winged beast monster from your deck to the graveyard. More setup in the graveyard. You can even send and set up Harpie Harpist this way with this card, but it's also a defensive barrier that your opponent will have to attack into first before any of your other Harpie cards, thanks to this defensive play and easy special summon by just having another Harpie monster on the field. And it can also be summoned off of your Harpie Chandler to then have a dragon monster to make Harpie Chandler a level 7 to then go into some rank 7 Xyz plays also. With the last of our Harpie monsters being just some of the 1-ofs, 1 copy of Harpie Lady Sisters, another card that can be summoned off of Elegant Egotist, which we also run in the deck, so another resource grab. The 1 Harpie Oracle for the option of if you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if it's normal or special summon, you can add 1 spell or trap from your graveyard to your hand that specifically list Harpie Lady Sisters. So more of the graveyard play, that's why we only run the 1-of copy of this card, and the 1 Harpie Queen. We can grab this card quite easily with some other cards in the deck as well, and then it's just a discard to be able to add Harpie's Hunting Ground from the deck to the hand also. And then the only other monsters we run in the main deck are the 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, just a hand trap spot that I like to run. We don't run in permanence in the trap lineup, but still just having an Ash Blossom answer for a number of other opponents' cards is something I always like to run. With our spells, we run 3 copies of Hysteric Sign. With this card, when it's activated, you can add 1 Elegant Egotist from your deck or graveyard to your hand. During the end phase of the turn, this card was sent to the field or hand to the graveyard. You can add up to 3 Harpie cards with different names from your deck to your hand. You can only activate 1 Hysteric Sign effect per turn, and only once that turn. So you can either go for the Elegant Egotist play to then have a special summon resource, or just the end phase search. Grabbing 3 Harpie monsters means you can also grab some of the 1-ofs that we run, and plenty of other setup to then be able to use the following turn also. And speaking of Elegant Egotist, we run 2 copies of this card as well. We run the 2 just for the fact that we can add it back from the graveyard off of cards like Hysteric Sign, so I feel you only need the 2 to begin with. It also has Harpie Lady Sisters in its card name, so it can be a search for your Harpie Perfumer to add as well, and then just activate this card. Gives you a Harpie Lady summon also from the hand or deck. And for the 1-ofs, we have the 1 copy of Harpie's Feather Duster. It's very useful because it works well in tandem with Harpie's Featherstorm, and it's just a good spell and trap destruction of all of our opponent's cards. The 1 Harpie's Feather Rest. You target 3 Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and draw 1 card. If you control level 5 or higher Harpie monster while you activate this effect, draw 2 cards instead. And for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you can have special summon except for wind monsters. Not really a big lockdown with this deck, but great for the recycle power and the 1 alluring mirror split. Having another Harpie Lady Sister search. If it's destroyed by battle for 1 of your cards, you can special summon a Harpie monster from your deck with a different original name than the destroyed monster. So just a resource grab for a continuous spell that we can keep on the field also. And then also the last of the 1-ofs, 1 copy of Harpie's Hunting Ground. It's searchable off of our Harpie Queen. So then we have that search, and also just destruction every time a Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters is normal or special summon to destroy a spell or trap on the field. We can also destroy Hysteric Sign with this card to get the search at the end of the turn if it's already been on the field and we haven't activated the Elegant Egotist search. 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet. I like this card in the deck because, once again, it's a monster effect negation that your opponent can't respond to depending on what we send. You can send Hysteric Sign as well. For this card, it was sent from the field or hand to the graveyard, so sending it from the hand to the graveyard can still get us our search at the end of the turn for our Harpie monsters. And also for the 1-ofs, for the spells, 1 copy of Call by the Grave, 1 copy of Divine Wind of the Mist Valley, and 1 copy of Pot of Prosperity. Divine Wind of the Mist Valley, especially with cards like Harpie Harpist or Cyber/Harpie Lady, for their bounce effects. If a face-up wind monster you control returns to the hand, to then special summon a level 4 or lower wind monster from the deck. So just, swapping out some of the resources to grab and getting better ones on the field to use also. For the traps, we're running 3 copies of Harpie's Featherstorm. If you control a Wind-Wing Beast type monster until the end of this turn, negate any monster effect your opponent activates. So it's just a better Infinite Impermanence for the deck. That's why we're running this card over Infinite Impermanence. And also, if you control a Harpie monster, you can activate this card from your hand. Once again, same play style setup as Impermanence, just needing that Harpie monster. And if this card in its owner's spell and trap card zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can add 1 Harpie's Feather Duster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So being able to even recycle our Harpie's Feather Duster from our graveyard back to our hand is a great recycle that this trap can provide, with the last of the traps being 2 copies of Hysteric Party. Activate this card by discarding 1 card, special summon as many copies of Harpie Lady as possible from your graveyard, and when this face-up card leaves the field, destroy those monsters. So since they all count as Harpie Lady while in the graveyard, you could just grab as many of those Harpie Ladies in the graveyard as resources, and you can avoid the destruction play by then just using them for extra deck plays also. For the extra deck, we're running 2 copies for our only Synchro monster of Cyber/Harpie Lady. For this card Synchro Summon, you can treat 1 Harpie monster you control as a tuner. This card becomes Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. And when a spell or trap or card effect is activated, except during the damage step, quick effect, you can target a monster your opponent controls or 1 Harpie monster you control, return it to the hand. You can only use this effect of Cyber/Harpie Lady once per turn, but that bounce back power once again can work with Divine Wind of the Mist Valley for that bounce to then grab you another Harpie resource on the field for you to use. And it's another easy summon with cards like Harpie Perfumer, being able to grab Elegant Egotist, and then being able to summon another Harpie Lady from the deck to the field, counting it as the tuner to then go for that synchro play. We're also running 2 copies of Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon, having another dragon option. Its effect can only be applied and resolved while it has material. It can attack your opponent directly. Your opponent cannot target any other Harpie cards for attacks, and during each of your end phase, detach material. So more of a defensive card. You do need 3 level 4 wind monsters, but still counting as a Harpie monster on the defensive play, and being able to swing for direct damage can help during some time situations interactions with your opponent also, and the 1 copy of Lightning Chidori, the 1 copy of Tornado Dragon, the 1 copy of Dracosac, and the 1 copy of Zeus for the rest of the Xyz monsters. For the Link monsters, 2 copies of Harpie Conductor. Needing 2 win monsters, its name becomes Harpie Lady while in the field or in the graveyard. And if a Harpie monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy 1 spell or trap you control instead. Destruction of the Hysteric Sign through the use of a Link monster. And if another face-up Harpie monster returns to your hand except during the damage step, you can target a special summon monster your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So an additional bounce power as well on top of the use of using your Cyber/Harpie Lady, and then the additional bounce thanks to Harpie Conductor, with the rest of the Link monsters being 1 Win the Wind Chandler, 1 Great Fly, 1 Cross Sheep, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and the 1 Borrelsword Dragon. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, as I mentioned before, the Harpie Perfumer play when it is summoned to add a spell or trap from your deck to your hand, specifically listing this card. So with this card, you can then go for the Elegant Egotist search, activating this card, giving you a Harpie Lady summon onto the field as well. Then you can count one of your Harpie monsters as the tuner, going for the level 8 Synchro play. And then that gives you your Cyber/Harpie Lady on the field for you to then use for your additional bounce power that your opponent may have. If you have cards like your Hysteric Sign, you can set these cards up as well, giving you the set to then be able to summon back resources on the following turn. When you activate this card, if you send a card off of the Hysteric Party, and that card is the Hysteric Party off of the Hysteric Sign, you'll then have a search at the end of the turn, which once again you can go for your one-ofs for some of your specific Harpie Lady monsters for you to then use the following turn, depending on the resource you went for. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Once again, like I said, wanted to update this. I was just met with pure inspiration to update the Harpie Lady deck after I saw the beautiful Harpie's Feather Duster to then use in the deck also. But as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.